the origin story to that and kind of what has led me on a path to really entrepreneurship and, all the speakers are talking about pouring into people, pouring into your clients. A lot of what I do is pouring into the agents and the agency owners. So my role doesn't really involve pouring into the clients, but I want to kind of bring you guys a perspective, especially the agency owners that are trying to build a team, what that kind of stuff looks like. So what gift did God give you? So the story I was lucky enough to kind of find my gift when I was 12 years old. And how that came about was, of course, you live in a trailer park, you probably don't have much money. You don't get to kind of do the things that everybody else gets to do. But I was fortunate that I had one friend. The reason I've never spoken is because I'm an introvert. I like to sit in my corner in my office and do my thing and not really talk to a lot of people. So this is one of those things that if you ever talk to me, you'd be like, there's no way. You come across as, and it's just like you learn how to sell a client, you learn how to talk to people, you learn how to get out of your shell, and it's one of those things that you have to make sure you're doing those things. So back to the story. 12-year-old, I had one friend, and his dad, anytime that they would go to a restaurant, and this was normally weekly, they would go to a restaurant, he would always invite me because obviously I didn't get to go to a steakhouse. It was home-cooked meal, 3 meals a day, 1 snack at a specific time, that's what you got. So, and every time it was every time I go, they buy my meal every time, never ask, they knew why they were, what they were inviting me for. And so early on I learned, or God, I think, gave me that gift and showed me that, through them, what that was to give. And so I believe that my gift is of giving. And I believe your gifts, if it's an actual gift, and you'll know it's an actual gift when you do it, whether it's leadership, speaking, giving, bringing people together like Cody does, whatever that gift is, you do it and you don't think of anything else that comes after that. You just do it. And so that's what I believe that God put me on this earth to do, is to give, because I don't think about it now. It's like I've had nothing, and I can help people get something, because going back to nothing is the same thing as what I started with, so I'm never going to be in a worse position. So I challenge you to please write this down, and I want to do this at the end to just make sure. If you do not know what your gift is, and just kind of how Jalen was talking about figuring out and diving those layers deep and figuring out what the gift that God gave you, because I promise you, the only reason we're standing up is because God is within us, which means you have a gift. You have to figure out what that gift is, because there's no amount of money, there's no amount of relationships, there's no amount of cars, houses. At the end of the day, when you have all those things, there's still going to be an empty void, because that gift is what is going to give you purpose. Has anybody seen the Alex Hormozy and, Cody, your guy? Yeah, Tony. Anybody seen Alex Hormozy, Tony Robbins video? It's the same exact thing. Alex Hormozy has everything in the world, anything he needs. And Tony literally pulled out of him that he actually doesn't have everything that he needs and he desires. And that's because, has he helped people? Yes, but he hasn't used the gift that God gave him to help people. So I challenge you guys, please figure out what that gift is, because it'll absolutely change your life, and you won't ever think twice about using it. All right, so the apple tree. So it's just a quick story. So everybody knows how an apple tree is created. Plant the seed, water, trees grow, fruit comes off the tree. Our gift, the apple tree, the apple doesn't eat its own fruit. The apple does not eat the fruit the apple tree does not eat the fruit that it produces. The fruit is consumed by us, animals, humans. The same way with our gift. Our gift is not for us. God gave us our gift to help other people. So the apple tree was never meant to eat its own fruit. So our gift is not, we shouldn't get anything from our gift. Our gift should never be anything that provides monetary value, provides relationships. Our gift is literally to provide the value and the help or the resources for other people that God put you here on the earth to do. And so your gift is for other people. Just said that. What was given to you was never meant to stop with you. So you're given that gift. If you're not utilizing it, if you're not utilizing that gift, the gift that God gave you, then what are we doing? Like, who in here has made more money than they ever need? I would say we've got some people in here. Yeah, you've got. That doesn't fulfill you, does it? It doesn't. It does not mean anything. And so, and when you don't have anything, the hard part is, it's easy to say when you have it. The hard part is understanding that when you don't have it, and that's the challenge. But if you could just take a little words of wisdom from, is it Jalen? Yeah. All right, words of wisdom from Jalen. Even when you have it, you're not going to feel like you've actually accomplished something, because there's still going to be that void. So when it comes to giving, I've been in the insurance business for 15 months, 16 months. I don't come from the insurance business. I do come from the business world. Bought and sold several companies. We have a large e-com brand, over 8-figure e-com brand. So I understand business. So when I came in to the insurance industry, the one thing, not that I think there's a ton of people in here that are pouring into agents and really, really helping them sell. But the one thing that I noticed was it's mostly about sales and showing the agent how to sell products. But I haven't seen a ton of, or when I was looking at it, I see a little more now, but when I was looking at it, I was like, where are the people that are helping the agents actually become operators, like actually become agency owners? Like the basic fundamentals of building a business, of structuring a business, what your LLC looks like, operational, SOPs, all those things. And so when I came in, my goal was to, because I've done this in all my other businesses, is build a structure to where when our agents come in, they're able to step in and actually understand what it looks like to build an agency from a system, structure, process. And so that's where I came up with turning agents into operators. So who in here gets paid from the carrier directly in your name? Okay, so you're sole proprietors. Who here LLC? Okay. Sole proprietor. Disclaimer, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a lawyer. This is just, since I was selling candles door to door when I was 12 years old in that same trailer park. So I've been doing my own things for 26 years. This is a school of just hard knocks, me figuring this stuff out. So I do not endorse anything, ask your CPA. Sole proprietor. If you're a sole proprietor and you are between $40,000 and $60,000 in revenue, that's going to go on your taxes. Not really smart to be a sole proprietor. Does anybody know why? Self-employment tax. So first thing I tell all my agency owners, specifically the ones that are just starting that haven't made a lot of money. I see a lot of you guys in here. I'm assuming you've got CPAs, you've talked to people there, but you guys know the agents that are just starting that need this information. So 15.3%. If you want to help one of your agents that are starting their agency to increase their bottom line by 15.3% with one form, that is the form 2553. And that's turning your LLC into an S Corp, which is a pass-through entity, which then wipes out the self-employment tax, the 15.3%. So that is literally the quickest way to affect, especially in the beginning, a positive on your bottom line. Now, who in here is just an LLC and they're the sole member of their LLC? Sole member of your LLC. Anybody in here that is not an S Corp and has an LLC? So do we have a few that aren't S Corps? So LLC, no S Corp. And you're the sole member? Okay. So I want you to write this down. And you can kind of dive a little more into it. But look up something called piercing the corporate veil. Because most people think because you are creating an LLC, well, now all of a sudden I'm protected. If you are a sole member of the LLC and you're using the LLC as your personal bank account, and somebody tries to come against you and sue you for whatever reason, if you were using it like a personal bank account, legal could, their lawyer, if they're good enough, could come in and say, hey, they kind of just started this LLC. It's really just them. Pierce that, you have zero protection. Like they can, your LLC is not limited liability if you're not using it properly. So make sure if you have an LLC that you're not using it for your personal funds. It is your LLC. Now, obviously, your income can go in there. Create you a personal bank account. Pay your bills and stuff like that. Do not pay it out of the LLC. That is not protecting you. Second thing, just because you have an LLC does not mean you stop paying the self-employment tax, the 15.3%. You have to file the 2553 or the LLC doesn't matter because the IRS does not care about your LLC unless you tell them how to tax it. So you have to file that to increase that bottom line. An LLC without intention limits liability but does not improve the bottom line. It'll limit the liability if you don't use it in a personal way. Now you can have a car, you can have, buy some clothes, stuff like that. Do not pay, your child's tuition out of it. You know what I mean? Because you can say, oh, that's a businessman, I'm trying to get my, they'll get you on that one. So the other thing, don't be scared of the IRS. That's one thing. Like the tax code is written for entrepreneurs. You just need to learn it. You need to understand it. Already went over that. Y net score reduces the taxes. So it's 12.4 in Social Security and then 2.9 Medicare. All right. The other thing that I run into with our agents is everybody knows their ideal client. Like all the products you sell, I know everybody's different, Medicare, ACA. You know what your client's looking for. You know the questions to ask, you know what you need to sell, you know the type of product they're looking for, all those things. But do you know who your client is? Who's your client when you own an agency? I'm assuming everybody in here wants to sell their agency at some point, make a whole bunch of money. Yeah? So who's your client? Who's the person looking?
Other agents, other business owners.
Other business owners? Private equity, maybe? Looking to buy you if you want to sell your business? Private equity is looking for your business? What happens a lot of times is you have an agency in your building and you're doing wonderful, but you don't understand what the end buyer, what that person's actually looking for. So how can you build something and structure something properly if you don't even know what the purchaser is looking for? We wouldn't be able to sell a policy if we didn't know what the client was looking for. So how would we sell our agency if we don't know what private equity is looking for? So I know a lot of you probably know who knows what this is? EBITDA.
Earnings before taxes.
Yep. Earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. That is what private equity is looking for. So please write that down if you do not know that and study that. That is what they're looking for. We hear all the time, and I love the speakers, a lot of the speakers said this too. It's not about how much your revenue is, it's how much it goes in your bank account, right? Same way with your agency and somebody looking to buy it. You can say, hey, we did 20 million last year. Did you spend 20 million? Because 20 million means nothing. EBITDA is what they're looking for. They're looking for how much basically they call it net. What is the bottom line that they're looking at with the multiple to see what your agency is worth? Revenue makes you feel good. EBITDA makes you valuable. Another thing, processes and systems. Who does SOPs? Who creates SOPs in their business? Okay, we got to create some SOPs, guys. Let me tell you why. We all talk about systems, processes, what we're going to do. And how many times have you told one of your operators, your agents, to do something, and then like 2 weeks later you're like, well, I told you how to do it. Like I've already said it. Like what? Like what do you mean? But did you write it down? Yeah, it's my fault. You know why? Because I did not document what that process is for that agent. So I mean, this can be as simple as, it gets super crazy, but this could be as simple as the script. How your agents speak, like all these things, it has to be documented. Because if it lives in your head, it does not count. And let me tell you why. Whoever's buying your business, mainly in this industry, if they're buying your business, they're buying you for the EBITDA. They're not going to plug your business into private equity's operational systems. They're going to want you to run your business the way you're in your business. Well, you're not going to look very valuable if you have this massive sales force that does really well, but as soon as the main guy leaves, then everything falls apart because there's no systems and process in there. So you look way less valuable. So make sure you're writing down and you're creating these systems, these SOPs. You
have to say hi-ya.
Hiya. Look, let's go. Let's go. Awesome. All right. Who knows what key man risk is? Key man risk? All right. Key man risk. Private equity loves this word, and the reason is because they get to buy you for a lot less if this is what's going on. So, if I were to leave think about it this way. If you were to leave your agency, you're the owner, you're the one who runs everything, you're the one everybody relies on. If you cannot walk away from your business for 6 months and come back and it's running the same exact way, you have key man risk. Does anybody want to be able to take a vacation and everything just kind of flow and work together the same way? Yeah. And it's not because you're not, I think there's some amazing agents in here I've heard some crazy numbers. We have to remember, though, we are in business as well. We are running an agency. Well, there that went. That's good for my first time. We are running an agency. So the processes, the systems, keeping everything lined out. Like if I were to walk away from my business right now after 14 months, it would still do the same exact thing. The leaders are in place. The contracting's in place. Everything is there. It's running. Oh, look at that. So if it lives in your head, I'm pretty sure. Hiya. All right. There it is. If you are the business, there is no business. Who wants to sell till they're, well, you look 40. I'm just saying. If I look like you when I'm your age, dude, I'm happy. Who wants to sell for 30, 40 years and just keep going and keep selling? Well, we got the end of the bell curve right here, but nobody wants to do that. The goal is we're not chasing after money. We're actually, when people say we're chasing after money, we're not actually chasing after money. We're chasing after time. We use money to create the time. But you can I know guys in this industry sell $2 million a year. And guess where they'll be unless they do SOPs, they learn their business inside and out with EBITDA. And if you want to say, hey, I want to sell for $10 million, go look up what it takes to sell for $10 million in the life insurance. There's plenty out there. Actually, you could probably go back here and talk to a couple of these guys back here that have probably already done it several times and ask them exactly what it is to get to that $10 million. And you go down, you just backtrack the numbers. So, if you need $2 million in EBITDA, sell for $15 million, figure out how to get to $2 million. But you have to create the systems, you have to create the processes, and you cannot be the only person handling the business. Now, I got 2 minutes left. I thought I was going to be short. I feel good now. I feel great. I feel good. Thank you guys. Y'all very attentive. I appreciate you guys so much. So, yeah, figure out your revenue. At the end of the day, if you want to get to this point, here's what happens a lot of times. People are like, man, I can't quit selling because if I quit selling, I'm going to stop the revenue. The revenue is going to decrease. Guess what? Your revenue is going to decrease. It's going to. When you're the best pin in your company, you're going to lose money. It's just what it is. Like you cannot. without backtracking, just like when you have no leads and you're like, hey, I need to go spend money, but I'm not even good at it yet. It's the same thing. I'm not good at it yet. I'm going to go spend money on systems and figuring out in my time, and I'm going to lose revenue. But would you rather lose revenue for a year to not have to sell for 20 years, 30 years? You just spend that time doing that, and then you don't have to worry about that anymore. I was fortunate to sell a couple companies, and I was able to just come into business and just do that. And I've had Mr. Cameron Reed back here. I'm going to give him a little shout out. I mean, a stud when it comes to selling mortgage protection. So if you want to learn anything about mortgage protection, that's the guy. I was fortunate enough to partner with Cam this year to help run the agency side. So he's a main part of why I'm able to stick with the business, focus on the vision, and continue to create systems and processes. So my time is up. Guys, I really appreciate you guys so much. And remember, when you go home, what is the gift that God gave you? If you do not know, please figure that out, because I promise you that's going to be more valuable than anything else you hear here today. Awesome.